Hello, British senior engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, we are talking about CRISPR Therapeutics' latest article on CRISPR Therapeutics, of course, on seekingalpha.com, stating the following: CRISPR Therapeutics' CASGEVY commercial launch is taking shape. And of course, I want to talk about all of that here in this video on a Wednesday night. Unfortunately, I actually recorded this video, or tried to record this same video that I'm recording now, but there was an error on my OBS tool that, of course, you use to record videos, and I just found that error as I was basically telling everybody to subscribe and like this video as I was gonna end that video, but obviously I was not even recording. So maybe it's a plug for me to tell you to do subscribe and like this video. Really does help the channel. So I'll jump straight into it, guys, and it'll be a sort of accelerated here as I'm getting later in the night here, and someone does have to sleep for his day job. So what is this article about? Well, this article is about the government support, talking about the government support, talking about private insurers, of course, covering CASGEVY. And actually, this article is pretty good because it talks about specific things, of course, the history of where we've been in the last few months, and of course, the current status, and of course, the future. And it actually talks about a couple of things here, and I want to talk about it straight into it. So Medicaid, of course, is in the US. Their goal, is to provide low-income adults and others with the treatment, right? It's a coverage for Americans, right? So, of course, that's in the goal to keep its citizens across the board healthy, no matter what income level they have. And over here, it's actually, the author actually states that the government highly likely the government agencies to provide coverage for CASGEVY in approved countries. And we talked about it. I mean, the Saudis are deducting it 100%, and that's oil money, but it doesn't matter. They're doing it. Bahrain doing the same thing. Of course, UK has a different system there. It's still public, but there's the whole sub segment there that maybe one day we'll have time to cover their whole insurance situation and so on. But Canada has their own, of course, not approved yet, but it is pending. Switzerland as well. Of course, Europe being a big one. Europe was definitely a big one. I feel like it went under the radar when European Union approved it. I just feel like it didn't have that same, that same energy than when the U.S. had it, and it makes sense. It's the U.S., right? So, $2.2 million for CASGEVY. But here's the thing, though. This article talks about, it's a concept in the software world. We call it total cost of ownership. What is that? Total cost of ownership in the software world is you have an old product and now you have this new product that's offered. The way you have to look at financially, you can't just look at this new product and say, oh, this new product costs more. I have to pay, I don't know, $1 million to get that product. What if I just keep using my current product? The problem with that is the old way of doing things is costing you a lot of money. It's not fulfilling you, because if it did fulfill you, you would have never explored a new product, right? It's costing you a lot of money in maintenance and software upgrades. It's costing you a lot of headache, and it's putting you behind times, right? And of course, it's not satisfying. So for you to see that price tag in a vacuum is unfair, right? And that is why we call total cost of ownership in the software world. Same thing applies in the medical/biotech/genomics world. There is no cure up until CRISPR for sickle cell disease or beta thalassemia. So whatever alternative you had before then, which were blood transfusions, VOCs, whatever it is, it was expensive, it was not fulfilling. Median age in the UK of survival for sickle cell disease is 50. And then beta thalassemia is 40, even worse. And if you're going to look at that $2.2 million US price tag, and you say, well, this cure is not only going to literally be more cost effective than whatever people were doing to cope with their status, with the disease, but it'll actually extend their lifespan. I mean, come on, guys. Like, this article actually doesn't talk about lifespan, and I'm quite Uh, Quite disappointed they don't do that because that's a big thing. The conversation ends there. If you can boost the median age for someone with sickle cell disease with 50 to like 80, that's it. You forget about the money. Even if it costs 10 million, like think about it. Even if it costs 10 million, I don't even want to do the math. It's just everybody would agree with me that the government should cover that. If you can extend someone's life from 50 years, a predicted year of death, to 80 years, so extend them from 30 productive years in society. You gotta remember, those are productive years that you contribute, right? You just don't disappear, right? What does that mean? Right? What does that mean for society? What does that mean for GDP? What does that mean for a government entity? Obviously, here in the article, they're talking about why governments and public agencies are supporting this type of initiative. But most importantly, in the private landscape, insurance, Synergy, an organization consisting of a multitude of Blue Cross Shield insurers. Blue Cross is actually my insurer from my employer, representing about 100 million lives, said that the company will start to cover CASGEVY. That's pretty big. So now we have a private insurer that's covering it. Beyond Synergy, Vertex stated the following, quote, "We're very close with several other commercial payers in the US beyond Medicaid and Synergy who have nearly completed identifying reimbursement pathways." End of quote. And we saw that with Bluebird, what they're doing there. We covered that in our video not that long ago. So this is expected, right? Anybody that thought that getting FDA approved was the end of everything and now we can start generating revenue, it's quite naive to think that way, right? This was always going to be a topic of discussion. The first big step was to get approved by the regions such as US, UK, European Union. Of course, there's Canada, there's Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, there are other regions. But the first step is to get approved. The second step is to make the money work, right? You got to think this through, right? This is capitalism, right? As much as we want all patients to have access to this type of therapy, especially if they need it and they're in great needs of needing it ASAP, we all want patients to get it, right? As a citizen of Canada and of the world, I want everybody to have access to it. But we have to be real to ourselves, right? This is capitalism. This drug, this therapy doesn't get developed without millions and billions of dollars poured by Vertex and CRISPR Therapeutics collectively. There has to be a business case, right? There has to be a business case. And I'm not saying that patients have to pay for that. I never said that. But of course, as a taxpayer, again, total cost of ownership. Would you want as a taxpayer for these individuals to cope with whatever they're doing, coping it, and spending millions and millions of dollars? Or just do this one-time treatment, it does it, it fixes it, they can move on, no more VOCs, no more issues, you just move on, you become productive to society. It's a no-brainer, right? And same thing for insurers, private insurers in the US. I mean, they have to look at this. You got to think this through. You got to think this through. The Blue Cross was like Synergy, I guess in this case, they're spending millions of dollars on individuals with sickle cell disease. They're like, you know what, guys? Forget about all these weird medications you're taking, all these hospital visits and everything just to cope. Just go see Vertex. I mean, it's not as simple as that, but to go see Vertex, get your one-dose treatment, come back, we're done, paperwork is done, we'll pay it, don't worry about it, just move on in your life. I think it's even better for these companies because now, you don't have recurring fees on insurance for these patients. And you got to think this through. This is going to be a topic of discussion. Now, I know in the US, the insurance is obviously a big topic. Insurers, compared to somewhere like Canada, where, of course, the government has a lot more say on that. Obviously because of universal healthcare, or in the UK or in the European Union. But this is something to recognize, right? And that's why I wanted to make this video, right? I want to make this video because this is the shape of CRISPR. This is what it's starting to look like. CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex were the first one. The second one that's going to come in this landscape, whether that's in 2 years, 3 years, obviously won't have to go through all the hurdles because these two companies have gone through it. But that's the price to pay to be a winner. The winner, there is a first mover advantage here. And these two companies are winners. We know this. We've covered this many times. they're all going to be winners, and these two companies are clear winners in the CRISPR landscape. Who are the other winners? That's yet to be seen. Of course, these are big wins so far for CRISPR Therapeutics. Specifically for CRISPR Therapeutics, they still own 40% of this program. You guys gotta remember, 40% is not no jokes. Like, on a $2 billion revenue in a year, they're still gonna make close to $1 billion, right? This is no revenue, obviously it's not profit, but still, it's no jokes, right? That's one single program. So, and who knows? That maybe they can sell the rest of their 20%. Maybe they cut it in half and raise another $1.5 billion from Vertex. Who knows? And then Vertex has the cash. Look at their cash balance sheet. So I'll end this video like this. Like I said at the beginning of this video, do like this video, subscribe if you're not. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you guys think about these latest updates? Do you guys think we're going fast? Do you guys think we're going slow? Let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.